a collaboration with Qstream. Shean and Andres are the representatives of Qstream. They are account managers, and they are the best resource that we can have for introducing the program. So the way Qstream works for the Institute is we have created a link so you can use this microlearning development tool in conjunction with Docebo. So if you're using the premium version, you can seamlessly integrate the work of Qstream with the LMS, meaning you can create a microlearning stream, and Shean and Andres are going to explain you what the whole tool does, but you can create a microlearning program that can be tracked in your regular LMS in your program, so you can do reports on it, and your students are going to be able to receive all the microlearning, and you're going to be able to do all the tracking in the LMS. We're here to support you. We're going to help you with the development of your questions and the process. We have they have a big library of instances that you can use, those mini interventions. We have created some that are related to our courses, and we have that you have the opportunity to create your own and adapt the ones that we have created. So you don't have to start from scratch. What we want to do is build a library as comprehensive and that meet your needs. So with that said, I want to pass it on to Shean and Andres, so you can, guys, introduce yourself. And I'm sure I'm mispronounce your name, so so take it away.
Thanks so much, Anna.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to see such a good group on today. So, yeah, my name is Cian Coleman. I am the partner manager at Qstream, but I'm also the account manager um, here. And my job is sort of, I guess, myself and Andreas work very closely together. I obviously help out with the contract, but then also making sure that I can understand the use case so that you can use it as as best you can and get the most results out of it. So that's what I do, and I will let you quickly explain yourself, Andres.
Thanks, Kian. And yeah, hello everyone. It's great to see you all. And so I'm Andres de la Peña, work as a client consultant here in Qstream. And basically my job is to be your day-to-day contact for any questions, any operations with Qstream. So looking forward to working with you all.
Perfect. So my plan today is actually quite simple. I'm just going to go through the platform, what it looks like, how it's used, the different features that are in it, and by means of explanation, I will walk through the platform. I'm hoping to try and wrap that up around. I know we've got 45 minutes, so around 40 left. I'm hoping to try and wrap that up around latest 25 to, so I can leave some time for questions, maybe around 30. So I just wanted to make sure that suits you, Anna.
Yes, that sounds perfect.
Brilliant. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If there's any at any stage, if anyone has any questions, you don't need to wait till the end. If it's fresh in your head, just interrupt and fire ahead. Perfect. So not that, this. So I suppose the one thing is I want to show people this from the start, what the user level looks like, and what this is our new version of our platform that I'm showing. It's what the user level looks like, and then also the top level insights on how you can sort of track results. The example that I have here, I wouldn't pay any attention to the content of the example. It is sales. I know that mightn't be as relevant. I will show you how it's different. The main thing that I just want to get across is different types of questions we can have and the way we can deliver it to the users, because we have a library in the platform. It's in here, and you can store all the different questions, and anyone can just click into them, and you can pick anyone, and you can enroll yourself. So there is examples that I could have shown, like health and safety. It just so happens that this particular one is set up to show all the different new question types that we have on the platform. So the most important thing I think to start off with is saying that everything you're seeing here can be shown on is on a mobile app. So you can receive an information push, and you can log in and answer it that way as well. I'm going to just go a bit back to the start and show you that when you are enrolled in the Qstream, you'll get an email. This will be branded differently. So this just has the Qstream logo, but it obviously will have your branding on it, and it's prompting you to sign in. So when you get a question, it will be come through you to email or to your phone, prompting you to go in and answer it on the platform. And I know that also in this situation, there's also the Shabo link. So that's also an avenue. So I'm just going to go into the platform. When I've got my information push, I'm coming in here, and I'm going to click answer. So this particular question type that I've been given as a user is what we call an information push. So everything about Qstream is it's meant to be that it's a micro-learning solution. It's the final piece of your learning journey. You might have some in-person training. You might have some mandatory training you have to do. Qstream is a scientifically proven solution to help reinforce knowledge that you've learned from training and provide managers with those insights so that the next training they're always doing is more focused and the results are better. In this particular situation, and it's the only situation where we're not actually testing you on knowledge, this is a way of just providing information to the user so that they are enabled to go and ask further questions. So there might be some, and I'm still learning the industry from working with Anna, but there might be some questions around a particular store and regulations to do with that store. They can be outlined in this question type, and you can read through them. Usually you have to answer a question. In this scenario, it's just an information. So, I'm just being thanked for my attention, and I'll come back to what everything means here. But in this situation, there is no proficiency which is related to answering questions. You're just marked on your engagement in the question. So if I move on to the next question, you'll see a more Qstream relevant question. Again, please don't take any note on the actual content of the question. This is all customizable. So this could be your own video that you've put in. It could be your own picture. And the question here, the whole idea is that it's just scenario based. So, something to do with being in a store, or, what you might come across and how do you respond. It's scenario based. So it's sort of forcing them to retain knowledge, but also in the flow of work relating to their job. So I'm just going to click 3 questions at random and then hit submit. And I can see that my answer is partially correct, which is basically a more encouraging way of saying that you've got it wrong. But there is a bit of it that is right. And I can see how the rest of the people who have taken this on my team have done. So I had said to sort of forget about the left-hand side of the question on the user experience when I had started, but you can see here that I've gone up 73 points. I've got points for proficiency because I've got 2 out of 3 questions wrong. Right, so I'm proficient in the question, and that proficiency is something that I can come back to at the end when we're talking about the analytics, because this is what helps feed the analytics on this side. So it's your points for the particular question that will also help build the leaderboard. So this question will be asked again in 7 days' time, and that is part of the science behind it. So if I'd have got this right, I would be asked it again in 14 days' time. But because it's wrong, it's going to be 7 days' time. And the whole idea is that I can get this right twice in a row, and then I've mastered it, and it goes into my long-term knowledge retention. So that was sort of the scientific algorithm that the Qstream was built on in the back end. And I'm going to continue on to the next question. Similarly, this is just another scenario question, but it's a fill in the blank. So I'm just going to select some. It's good for like asking people on processes. You don't have to have it in like a row in a listing form. You can also have these fill in the blanks based into a paragraph itself. And click that too. And I have only got 2 of them right. Excuse me. So it's putting the right answer in order, and rearranging it and crossing out the ones that I've gotten wrong. So again, you can see I've only got it partially correct. So it's again in 7 days. And my proficiency is slightly down now because I got this more wrong than I got it right. At the end of every question, there's an answer explanation. So regardless of whether you get a question right or wrong, we're still reinforcing why you got that right or wrong. This is another new type of feature we have. So it is a video scenario question. So you're presenting them with a video and asking them to answer it, and by recording themselves. So when I'm ready, I can hit record, and I can record myself speaking about, whatever I was asked to talk about for a couple of minutes. And then when I'm ready, I can stop recording, and I can, when I'm happy with it, I have the option to retake it. If I'm happy, I can save and submit it. And this will go directly to my manager so that they can review it and they can mark me on it. So there's also like an auto text translate with that, so they can review if they're marking loads of videos for loads of people in the store. You can quickly see what people are saying, and you can mark it right or wrong based on that. Again, because this one is subjective, there's no proficiency option. It's up to your manager. A good example of how a lot of our customers use this is, instead of launching a series of 15 of these sort of questions that I've shown you, they just sometimes do one video pitch contest where they're asking people to answer a question. And it's kind of a fun, engaging way of doing training, because you can activate the leaderboards, so you can mark people and you can have a bit of fun and give a prize for people in the leaderboard. But even the fact that people can retake videos if they don't go right, in that itself is making them reinforce the content. Finally, this question here is just a example of a survey question. If you want to find out how people are happy with the training they've done, this is more for the content creation people on that end. So you can rephrase that if you want to say, what would you like to see more of? And that is, I just wanted to show 5 examples of different questions we have. But like I said, this is just this style can be built into any sort of use case and any training. It's really, you just have a blank canvas, and that's something that I can show in a few minutes. I'll go into on the content creation side. So I can see here, I've got an overview of my training, and I can return back to the dashboard. Now, typically, a Qstream it could release like 1 or 2 questions a day, so you wouldn't be spending obviously as long as I just did there. But that is the user end. That's what the person who's answering the question sees. I want to ask, does anyone have any questions on that before I move on to the next bit?
Any questions about the type of questions that you can build and scenarios? We're good? I think we're good.
Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to go out of this. here. So when you're logged in, you have the option to go into if you have the top level access for the site. You can see your insights. So I've actually already opened this up, but it opens it up like that. And I'm going to click in here. So this is the analytics level of Qstream. So how you can review analytics, and I've come in here and I've put just some controls in here. So this can be customized, for a group. So for example, in this situation, I've selected different Q streams that my team have ran throughout the year. I've picked some food safety ones to make it a bit more relevant. You can pick the countries. You can select all these different variables that you want to be able to view your analytics. So now that I've done this, I can then go across the top, and I can go and see these different variables on different levels. So, for example, here's the summary. So this is giving an overview across the 4 or 5 Qstream challenges I launched this year. Here are the results. So I had 70% start rate. I had participation was 56%. So I'd probably want a bit higher than this. It's giving me a summary of a lot of the different topics that I'll go on to show in more detail. And anything that you're seeing here is exportable. So there's a little button that appears here, and you can hit export. So when I move across the top, I'm going to go in and look at engagement. So you can really drill down into the different areas. What were people engaged in? What were they struggling with? You can see the different types of participation levels, what they answered, what they got in those questions. And then I'm going to move in here to our proficiency heat maps. So this is an example of how you can customize things, and this is really probably what I'd say like our most valuable level of analytics, where you can essentially show different areas where people are, different topics and how they're getting on. So for example, you can customize these. So you can have like teams, but I wanted to make this a bit more relevant. So these can be set up and customized for you. So I think I had it here. These on the bottom could be, if there was a selection of stores that fell under you, you could have these are numbers here, but these could be labeled as different stores. So you could see how people are getting on in training in different stores. So you could say, well, if I'm looking at food safety, holding, store 7 is doing okay, but this store is really struggling. Or if I'm looking at another one, say, where's a good example? The cooking area, you can see one group here has 80%, whereas some other group has 55. So you can really compare where they were when they started. But now if I go down, this is the current proficiency. So the proficiency difference is where they were when they first answered the first set of questions. So if you have 15 questions like the ones I just showed, when they first started answering them, what their level of correct answers was compared to when they finished the challenge. So if I was the manager overseeing the training, I'd be seeing firstly, if people are still bad but they've made an improvement, there's progress, and that's okay. If people have gotten worse on a particular area, that's something I might want to look at. But mainly I'd be picking out these areas where there's like in the 50s, 60s, and seeing, well, these are areas that I want to come in and improve on the training for like a particular store, because they seem to be struggling in these areas. So you can like break it down to like the actual questions that were asked, if you want to get in more detail. So I think the main idea is here that there might be something particular that you're looking for in terms of analytics, or there might be something that goes into a lot more detail. and you can monitor it here.
And this is really valuable for you guys in terms of anything that is compliance that can represent a liability for the store. You can really hone in the areas that need to be improved. And then, for example, you can do a stream that lasted for 3 weeks, and then you can look at the proficiency level, and then you can tailor the next 3 weeks so you can emphasize the areas where people are struggling. And it's pretty easy to relaunch a stream and do a newer version because you have the analytics that tell you exactly where you need to improve your questions or improve your training. So really cool feature.
Yeah. So there's loads of different areas to this. As I said, you could spend a lot of time in here. You can get this end of Qstream report where it pulls all of the Q streams that you selected and gives you an overview on them. So you can pull this whole report. Then if you want to bring it to meetings to be able to show how you've been performing on training. So essentially when you look at these analytics, what Qstream is doing here is it's sort of verifying the other training you've done outside of Qstream as well. So you might have a stage where it might include like an in-person training day. They might have something that they do on the Shabo, and then the final piece is the Qstream. So this is the Qstream analytics are allowing you to reshape and be more focused on the other two trainings that you're doing as well as Qstream, allowing you to sort of pinpoint what we call knowledge gaps. And then this is just to verify it. So it'll showing you things like what topics that people find most challenging. And then it recaps these analytics, the heat maps that we call them. So this is I could spend a full hour on this if I went into each detail, but I want to just give an overview of what it looked like, and see if there was any questions. If there isn't, I will move on to the last thing that I wanted to show before we finish up for questions.
Any questions? You can type it on the chat if you don't want to join, or we can. Nothing is coming, so you can't continue.
Perfect. So the last thing that I want to show is on the content creation side. So when I was back here, I said if you've got the insights access, you can go into this insights button, and what I just showed will appear. If you're creating questions, you have access to this library button. So within here, when you go in there, it looks like this, and we have this button that says generate content. So when you're building out questions, you go in here, and you can see how customizable it is. So you can upload an image, you can embed a video here, and you write in the correct answers or the incorrect answers. You might want to. It's completely up to you. You add your explanation, and then you just press save and create another. And then you can build these decks of Qstream questions that you just then go and launch. However, we have this new feature here where when you're creating your question, it might be you want to just create it from scratch and you're happy with that, or you just want to get an idea, but it's hit generate content. I had actually gone onto the IGA website to see if I could find any piece of information, and I thought this was pretty cool. But what I wanted to ask, is there any maybe Anna, you could help me with this. Is there any particular prompt you might have for a type of question? It doesn't have to be anything specific, just so I can provide an example of how this would work.
So
like question on the following.
Yes, so we would want to ask about how to handle multiple customers at once.
Okay. So two things to this. The first one is that you can type in a question, you can get a prompt, but if I had a PDF document, you can also put it in, and it will give me a question based on that. And one thing that is coming soon next year is the ability to upload a document in here, and it'll give you a series of questions based on that. So that'll really speed up. That will really speed up the way you can, in a few minutes, create a set of Qstream questions. And it's not just generic questions; they are, questions specific to Qstream. So at the moment, we've got 3 different options of questions. Next year, we'll have all our a full range of different, questions you can choose, and on top of that, you can also upload a document to create those series of questions. So I'm going to pick a scenario question because it is scenario based. I'm going to say question. So it's given a title, I can add my own image in here, and then it's given me this scenario based question that you are working at a customer counter in a busy grocery store. There are multiple customers waiting in line and more are approaching with full shopping carts. What should you do to handle the situation effectively? And then it's provided me with 1 correct answer and 3 answers that are incorrect. Now, if you wanted to make 2 correct answers, you could change that yourself and make this correct. This is just, you might want to use this question, but it also is just a prompt to sort of guide you in the right direction and really, speed up how quickly you can, get good quality questions out to everyone.
That's really good.
Yeah, and this right now, what I'm showing is that's available on the platform at the moment. So one thing to also mention is that there's no sort of tiered access to Qstream. Like once you have access to Qstream, you've access to everything. We're not one of those platforms that say, for an extra such and such you can unlock this. It's all just out there. It's all available. So if you didn't like that question, you can always go in and regenerate that. I can do it in a simple knowledge check question where it'll be more sort of straight up and give a straight answer. So, what is an effective strategy for handling multiple customers? And then it's given me in more of a direct answer format. So that is everything that I had planned on showing today from the user end, the analytics, and then the content creation side. If there's any questions that anyone would have for myself or Andreas, like for me more maybe on like the overall program level, implementing Qstream, or like for Andreas in terms of launching Qstreams and the day-to-day running and managing of Qstreams, happy to answer anything.
The floor is open. Please ask your questions. Or you can type them in the chat. But for those of you who are brand new, this is the first time that you encounter Qstream. It is important to know that Qstream allows you to tailor everything. So when we're talking about a Qstream, and I'm going to give you an example of one of our clients, they were having some situations with their loyalty program, and they did regular courses, they did in-person training, and they were not able to have the cashiers ask about the loyalty program because it ended up being that they were not certain how they were going to react if a customer asked a question. So they felt really not prepared to answer a question. So through a Qstream session, I think it was 6 weeks, Bridget. All the cashiers, thank you, were receiving 2 questions every 3 days that were related scenario based on what kind of situations they could find, when did they needed to ask a supervisor for help. So what happens if a customer doesn't have their card and they want to use it? What happens if the card, they show you the card after you completed the transaction? Uh, when do you need to call your supervisors for help in solving a problem? So they were able to make their cashiers a lot more comfortable because they were exposed to all these little bites of learning that presented to them scenarios that were real for the cashiers, so they were able to move the needle and actually get their loyalty program moving forward. So with Qstream, you can look at any situation that you have in your store and design a set of questions um, for the length of time that you think it's appropriate, with the frequency that you think that is appropriate, with the questions that you think that are appropriate. And you can have a stream that lasts for 6 weeks, or you can have a stream that is for everybody who completes a course, gets automatically enrolled in the stream, and then at the end of the year you can close it and look at the results. So it gives you the opportunity to really move the needle, especially in those problem areas that are related to behaviors. So Bridget, you want to add anything on the
Yeah.
process for
So,
helping the retailers develop their streams and their programs?
well, I was just going to add something else about this particular situation. One of the things that came across was, what do people actually say? The workers didn't actually know what to say. So part of the scenario was like, how should you respond? Should you say this? Should you say that? And then the client said that really helped because there wasn't like a printed out script or something, and they wanted it to be natural. Um, I think with this new AI generation, that will help create a lot of questions too. And so previously, we just created the Q stream off of it was our client's need. So it was a rewards program. And so we just said, what are your pain points? Can you give us a list of questions? We'll go in, and we had a training with the person at Qstream who trains people on how to create them. So this was way back before all the AI generation. Um, and she just showed us best practices, like, you would like to make this kind of question and have this type of response. Um, and stay away from true or false. Ask more multiple choice, or scenario is mostly the one that is suggested. So that was a little bit different when we developed it, but really just like, what is your pain point? What is your learning gap? Those are a really good place to start with.
Thank you,
That's a good
Bridget.
point. The
Yeah.
one thing, Anna, that you were just sharing there, I want to just add a small bit more color, and I do understand that there's a lot of people who might be on this call who've never heard of Qstream before. So can you see this thing that says 4 types of Qstreams?
Yes.
Yeah. So Qstream is like typically is it's a scientifically built and proven platform. So the person who found Qstream did all these clinical trials, and based on this concept called the spacing and testing effect, that if you deliver questions in a certain way, which is, say at 9 a.m. on a Monday, you get a question. If you get that wrong, you'll be asked it at 9 a.m. the following Monday. And the idea that whatever way it's programmed in your brain, if you can get it right at the same time, spaced out equally, it's going to go into your long-term knowledge retention. And he did all these studies to prove that. I think he has like 20 peer-reviewed articles. So this first Qstream, our classic one, is built on the science. But that doesn't mean you have to use that one. You're not everyone's goal is to, improve long-term knowledge retention. You might just want to provide questions quickly. So you might want to have a quicker Qstream, where all questions are asked once. Even if they get them wrong, they're not repeated, and it'll last 2 or 3 weeks. Or for, say, even just 3 weeks, just the incorrect answers get repeated, because you expect these people to know the questions. So it's just the ones that they get wrong that you want to repeat. So there's really Qstream is really that that delivery platform and the final piece of your training journey to ensure that you're meeting pain points. But
Okay.
to whatever way you want to set this Qstream up, it's completely up to you. So you can see you have a custom option. You know, you can talk to myself and Andreas, lay out the plan of what you have in mind, and we'll be able to, you know, deliver that in whatever way you want. You might want to launch 15 questions at once, just to give people a test, and they just do it all in one day. So I just wanted to add a bit more color around that. That was all.
Yeah, this is very helpful. So the key word here is flexibility and customizations. It's exactly what you need. And we do have questions already built. You can use ours, or you can take ours and modify them, or you can use the ones that Qstream has on topics way beyond grocery store. They have libraries on leadership, on management, on sales. So they do have a lot of additional content that you can bring into your plan uh, to improve learning and retention.
Yeah, and you know, it's actually, it's not something that we've even spoken a whole lot about, Anna, but like we have, you know, certain people, certain customers in similar, you know, agreements that we have, where there might be a situation where your particular you know, client wants to use Qstream a lot more frequently, and the volume that would be coming through you is too much. So we do have that extra services option where you can deal with Andreas directly yourself, you know, on an ongoing basis, and Andreas would work with you. We have that sort of separate, I say, like a focused client services agreement. So that is the option if there's more of a unique situation that goes outside the, you know, the ready-made you know, content that you're providing in the library.
Great. Paulo, do you want to add something?
I just want to thank everybody and say that I truly believe in the power of retrieval and the micro learning process. I think retrieval is a great tool to retention. I think retrieval brings the content, or this is science, brings the content from the short-term memory to the long-term memory, and is an efficient way to really help your workforce to improve and retain content and consequently change behavior. So I think it's a great tool. Thank you. And floor is all yours.
Any questions, guys? You've been really quiet.
I take it as a good thing.
That's good. And so one of the reasons we wanted to thank you, Sophia, that we wanted to bring this to you is we have a pricing established for microlearning, but we're up to the renewal. And if you decide to sign up for the to start in 2025, we are going to be able to negotiate with them for a lower price for everybody. So the more of you that decide to join, the lower the cost is going to be for everybody. So we want to make sure that we can pass those savings for you guys. So you have some time to think about it. If you want to do a test, we can create a stream. If you want to do a pilot in one of your stores, we can certainly do that. So you get to experience it, because it is something that is a little bit different from what we have in the traditional course-based program, but it's something that I encourage you to try, because it's really important to see all those analytics and improve that retention. Um, anything else that anybody wants to add?
Nothing on my end.
Okay. So thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to talk to our retailers, and thank you everybody to take the time to come and learn about microlearning. This can be a tool that might change how learning is done in your stores. So With that said, we recorded the meeting, so we're going to be sharing the recording. So if you want to take it back and discuss it with other people at your stores or your organizations, we're going to be able to do that. If you want to have a one-on-one demo to consider how you would apply it to your organization, we're always here to help. And thank you guys for taking the time. I guess we are be taking our daily agendas and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone
Thanks,
for
Anna.
joining.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Okay.
Thanks so
Bye,
much.
Bye
everybody.
bye.
you.